So these are extra practice problems from part 1 of my fractions review series. So in this video, we are going to simplify everything that you see here, and we're also going to convert either the mixed numbers to an improper fraction or the improper fraction to a mixed number. So just as a heads up, this video specifically continues extra practice exercises from a previous review video in my math review series. So if you want to see more description on how to actually do these problems, I recommend that you check out the math review video first, and you can check the description for a link to that review video. You can also get a free PDF version of all these problems with an answer key. So this video just contains the worked out solutions for those problems. So if you are interested in that, you can go to divideandconquermath.com and then just go to the review section. Okay, so we're going to start with simplifying these problems here. So let's just jump right into it. So I'm going to simplify each of these. The best thing that you can do is try these by yourself and then just double check the answer key or watch the solutions in the next part of this. Remember, math is not a spectator sport, so you're going to get more out of this if you're actually practicing. Okay, so starting with the first one. So I've got 13 over 39. So I can divide the top and bottom of that by 13. And I'll get that this is just 1/3. For the next one, I have 27 over 72. So for those, I can divide the top and bottom both by 9. So 27 divided by 9 is 3. 72 divided by 9 is 8. So this will simplify to 3 over 8. For part C, so I have 36 over 99. So again, the first number that jumps out at me is that I can divide the top and bottom by 9. So this will become 4 over 11, and that's all I can do for this one. For the next one, I have 28 over 36. So for this one, the first number that jumps out at me is a 4. So I'm going to divide the top and the bottom both by 4. Whatever I do to the bottom, I'm going to do to the top. 28 divided by 4 is 7. 36 divided by 4 is 9, and so that is as far as I can reduce that one. For the next one, I have 33 over 42. So if you're not sure, so just as a little handy reminder, I talked about this in the last video. So if I think about 42, if I add up the digits, notice that 4 plus 2 equals 6. So remember what I talked about? So if this number here is divisible by either 3 or 9, then that number is divisible by 3 or 9. So obviously 6 is not divisible by 9, but it is divisible by 3. So I can divide here the top and bottom by 3. So this little trick only works with 3 and 9, but it is a handy trick because sometimes you might look at some of these and say, I'm not sure what to divide these by. Now, 33 divided by 3 is 11. 42 divided by 3, I'll just do the hand calculation real quick in case you can't do that in your head. So I can take 3 divided by 42. 3 goes into 4 once. I can subtract off the 3, bring that 2 down. 3 goes into 12 4 times, so this will simplify to 11 over 14. And for this last one, so now I've got a big number, so I've got 300 over 525. Okay, so the first number that really jumps out at me is, it looks like both of these are divisible by 25. So I'm going to go ahead and just start out by dividing the top and bottom by 25. Now, if you can't do that in your head, of course you can set up the division. So I'm going to do the division one more time, just in case you find that helpful. So 25 goes into 30 once, so I can subtract off the 25. 30 minus 25 is 5, and now I'm left with 50. I bring that 0 down. 25 goes into 50 twice, so 300 divided by 25 is going to equal 12. And then, let's see, I'll clear a little space. Okay, so let's do 25 into 525. 25 goes into 52 twice. 2 times 25 is 50. I can subtract that off. This will leave me with a 2. Bring down the 5. 25 goes into 25 once. So this will be 12 over 21. Okay, cool. So now, looking at this, I realize the top and bottom are still divisible by 3, so I can divide it one more time. And this will be 4 over 7. And so that is as much as I can simplify. Now we move on to the next set of exercises. So if it's a mixed number, we convert it to an improper fraction. If it's an improper fraction, we convert it to a mixed number. Now we're starting with the easier set of these first. So these 3 are all mixed numbers. Converting these to an improper fraction is nice and straightforward. So What I'm going to do is I just have to figure out what the numerator is. So to do that, I do this number times the denominator plus this number. So this is going to be 4 times 5 plus 2. So that's 20 plus 2, so that equals 22. So this will be 22 over 5 as a mixed number. Moving on to the next one. This will be 7 times 3 plus 1, right? So I take this number times the denominator plus this. So that's 21 plus 1, so that equals 22. So I just put that over that denominator, 22 over 3. And then for this last one, so this is a negative number. Remember, you ignore the negative for right now, and you just go ahead and you convert this to an improper fraction. So I'll take 5 times 5 plus 3, so that's 25 plus 3, so that's 28. And now that I know what the numerator is supposed to be, now I just slap that negative in front. Negative 28 over 5. And again, I went through an explanation of why this is in my last video. The negative always just comes at the end when you're working with these. So next, now I need to take these improper fractions and convert them into mixed numbers. So the first thing that I want to do is I just want to reduce these fractions as much as possible. It's going to make my life a lot easier. So for this first one, the first thing that jumps out to me is that the top and bottom are divisible by 2. So I'm just going to go ahead and divide the top and bottom by 2. So this becomes 27 over 8. And now I can't simplify this anymore. So now I'm just going to have to figure out what to do with the improper fraction. So the way that this works is you set up the long division. How many times will 8 go into 27? It'll go in 3 times. 3 times 8 is 24. So 27 minus 24 is equal to 3. So this is going to be your remainder, and this is what goes into that improper fraction. So 27 over 8, the way that this works, it's this number up here, so that's 3. And then the fraction is composed of this part of the remainder over the divisor. So this will be 3 and 3/8. Okay, so moving on to E. So for this one, I notice, let's see, that once again, they're both divisible by 2. So I guess that I will start there. So 72 divided by 2 is 36. 14 divided by 2 is 7. So this is as far as this one will go. And so now I've got to do the same thing, right? So I'm going to divide 7 into 36. I'm going to erase the work from earlier. Okay, and so now, let's see. 7 will go into 36 5 times in total. So 5 times 7 is 35. So I can subtract that off. There's my remainder. So this will be 5 and 1/7. So again, it's this number, and then this part and this part make the fraction. Okay, so moving on to the next one. I've got 55 over 12. Well, okay, so I talked about this in the last video. This is a good example of this again. So this is kind of one of those moments where it's like, how can you be sure that this can't be reduced? Well, if I think about how to make 55, 55 is 5 times 11. How would I make 12? 3 times 4. Clearly, looking at these numbers, they have nothing in common, so they can't be divided into one another. So 55 over 12, that's as much as I can do with that fraction, and so I am just going to have to reduce that improper fraction. So let me clear some space. Okay, so how many times will 12 evenly go into 55? It will go in 4 times. So I can take 55 minus 48. So that equals 7, and so this will become 4 and 7/12, and that's as much as I can do with that particular fraction. So that brings us to the end of this video. So just as a friendly reminder, so this is part of my fraction series. These are just practice problems within the fraction series. So my fraction series starts with simplifying fractions, then talks about the basics of operations, and then more advanced operations. So if you really hate fractions, I usually find that most students who hate fractions just forgot a lot of things with it. So I strongly recommend you just watch the entire series, and hopefully that will help you rebuild that foundation and maybe make it so that you don't hate fractions so much. Also, just as an FYI, my review series has many other topics in it. So this is just one series on fractions, but I have everything else, honestly. So each topic has a refresher video, which would have been the companion video, and then the practice problems, answer key, and then the extra videos with the solutions worked out. So this is the video that accompanies those practice problems. So all of these materials are free. They're at divideandconquermath.com. Just go to the review section and everything is there for free. If you found this helpful, I'd love it if you hit that like button, leave a comment, subscribe, or tell your friends. And otherwise, I will catch you guys in the next video. Bye!